Hey, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Christmas, I was going to say Christmas wreath, but it's just a wreath. It can be for any occasion. Not important. I'm going to be showing you how to make this wreath, which was designed by me, and I think it looks super cute. So I was thinking the other day of Christmas designs I could do, or like some of the things I want to make for Christmas, and I realized I've never seen anybody make a Loomigurumi wreath, so I decided to make one. And it turned out so cute. You guys could probably barely see it. Well, you can kind of see it. I put a face down here. You don't have to put a face on your wreath. I just like putting faces on everything, so I put a face on my wreath, but you don't have to. Anyways, here's the design. It's fairly simple. It's just a fuzzy circle, basically. I was looking, though, to make sure that this was original, because sometimes when designs feel so simple, I'm like, there's no way this is original. But actually, there's not a lot of wreath designs out there, so I'm pretty sure this is original. And I do have to give credit to somebody, because I got inspired to do, you see how these, like, the fluff bands with the beads? I was inspired to do that by Iris Handmade. If you've seen them, if you followed me for a long while, you know about 3 years ago I made these trees that were, like, full of, like, wrapped, like, the extra fluff bands with beads on it. So that's where I got that from, but I was thinking, and I don't think that just because I used her bead with like fluff technique is enough for it not to be original, so I'm making a tutorial for it, and yeah. Anyways, here's the design, and I love it. These are so cute. I'm probably gonna have like 3 wreaths by the end of this because tutorials, and I've just been making wreaths. These are so easy and fun to make. Difficulty-wise, it's not too difficult if you are okay with looming very small, because I think this whole thing is about 4 stitches wide, so it's fairly small. As well as we have fluff bands, but to me those don't really get in the way, so as long as you're comfortable with looming small or like very tight, it's not even tight, it's just a very small circle, you should be okay. So it's not too hard at all, super easy. Well, not super easy to me. But I know some beginners have problems looming things when they're very small, so that's the only thing. Band-wise, I don't know how many bands this takes. I forgot to do the band count. If you need the band count, though, it's in the description, so you can just go down and check that. And, yeah. So I don't have too much else to say about this. Yeah, so today, for the colors, I'm going to be using this sparkly silicone pink bands. And then the one thing we're going to need for this design that we normally don't need is you're going to need some beads. I mean, you don't have to use beads. You can make the wreath just like with fluff bands and no beads, but I really like how this design looks with beads. And basically, you're just going to want to you're probably going to need about 30 to 40 of bands on beads, like, or beads on bands, I don't know. And you're just going to want to make a bunch of these beforehand. I find it easier to put them all on the bands before them, and I'll show you how to put them on the bands in a second, but I'm just explaining some things. But yeah, you're gonna need about 30 to 35 of these, I'd say. You can do less, you can do more, you can just do however many you like, but you're just gonna want to put beads, or you can use wrap bands too, but I'm gonna be using beads today again. So I already know I'm gonna get the question, where did you get your beads? So I got these from the dollar store like 3 or 4 years ago. I've had these beads for a while. They were from the dollar store, and they're just tiny little beads. I have no idea what size these are. I think they're called seed beads, and I also have some of these ones that are slightly bigger, and these beads I got from Michael's. They were on sale, and my mom got them for me. I don't know what size these are either. I checked the package and didn't say, so yeah. Honestly, though, any tiny beads you have will work. They're really small, I will say that. Like, if you're looking at, like, bead to band ratio, they're pretty small. Not very big at all. So, yeah, but you can use whatever size beads, whatever size you want. I'm just telling you what I'm using. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I actually don't use stuffing for this design, so you don't need stuffing. Of course, you're going to need a hook. I'm going to be using my double-ended hook today just because I really like this hook. You can use a one-sided hook, though. You don't need both sides. I already showed you what color I'm using. You're going to need something to mark your rows. I'll be using a C-clip. And what else do you need? I'll show you how to do the bow, too. So, yeah. I think that is it. So, we're going to get started. I'm going to start by showing you how to put the beads on the bands in case you don't know. But it's fairly simple. So, you're just going to want to get a string. And I'm using a piece of dental floss. I find dental floss is the easiest string to do this with. And then you're just going to put your bead on the string. like that. I don't think my camera's focused. Hold up. There we go. Like that. And then you're going to put a band on the string as well. So like this. And then you're going to fold over and go back through the bead. So I'm folding over like this so the band gets caught in it. And then I'm going back through the bead. It's so hard to go back through the bead on camera. I can't see. There we go. So once you go back through the bead, the band should be in like this little loop. And then you just pull your bead onto that band. If your bead doesn't go onto your band, it probably means you're using beads that are a little bit too small. But yeah, so I'll show you that again. And we just do this literally a bunch of times until you have a bunch of beads that are on bands. I find it easier to do this first because then while I'm looming, I don't want to stop to put beads on bands. So I usually do this all at the beginning. And you just slide it on. Okay, so you're just going to repeat that about 30 times, I'd say, until you have a bunch of just beads that are on bands. I did a bunch before starting to film this. I think I actually did too many, but it's fine. This will just be this wreath will just have a lot of beads on it. So you're probably going to want to pause, go do this a bunch of times, and then come back and I'll show you how we start our wreath. But you're going to want to do this first. And like I said, you don't have to do the beads if you don't want to. The wreath will probably look just as cute if it's just fluffy. It's the same thing, so yeah. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to do the wreath. So you're going to want to get whatever color you want your wreath to be. And I'm just going to pick up some of these bands. I'm using silicone bands today. I've used these in tutorials before, and they're just so sticky and annoying. But I was like, I really want the wreath to be this color, so I'm just going to suffer through the fact that they're a little sticky. These honestly are not that great for Loomigurumi, but I was like, I want them to be this color. So I'm dealing with it. Okay, so I put a bunch of bands on my finger. I had to pause because it took me a second. But we are going to start by tripling a band on our, well, not tripling, like making a tripled cat band. My brain today. But we're going to be wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So this is 1. That's 2. That'll be 3. And then we're going to be putting 4 stitches in this cat band. So I'll show you what I mean by that. If you already know, you can just go ahead and do it. But we're going to pull our band through the whole cat band. Both ends back on our hook. Push the back one over the front one. And so that's 1 stitch, so we need to do 3 more. So once again, we'll go through the cat band, pull the band through just the cat band, both ends back on our hook. You're going to push the back one over the front one, and then you're going to push this loop from last time over. And we're going to repeat that exact same thing we just did 2 more times, so we have 4 stitches in total. So we'll go back through our cat band, pull the band through just the cat band, both ends back on, back one over the front one, and then the loop from last time. We'll do that again. Like that. So now we're going to want to make sure we have 4 stitches, so you're going to start by counting the one on your hook. So we'll start by counting this one. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once we've made sure we have 4, we're going to go back through this first loop here, and we're going to start adding fluff. And basically, before we go through that loop, we're going to double a band on our hook. So we're just going to wrap a band twice around our hook. And then we're going to go through this first loop. And we're going to make a stitch just like we did before. So you're going to pull it through just the loop. Then you're going to push the back one over the front one. Then you'll push this doubled band. And then you'll push the loop from last time. And that's pretty much the order of how we're going to be doing all these stitches. Also, we're going to want to put a C-cup on this one. Like that. Okay, so right now is already when it's going to get really repetitive. So we're going to stay at this big for the whole design pretty much. But I'm obviously going to do a couple of rows on camera, but we're going to be adding fluff for all these rows. So before every single stitch we do, we're going to be like doubling a band on our hook, or we're going to put one of our beaded bands, like the bands with beads, and you just put both ends of these on your hook like that. And I don't really have specific placements for how I did the beads. I just put them where I felt they looked good, and I didn't put them for every loop. So I would like, sometimes I would alternate. I would just put them however I felt. So I'm going to be doing that again today. But basically, every time before you make a stitch, you're either going to want to double a band on your hook, or you're going to want to put a bead band on your hook. So I'm going to do a bead next, so I'm going to keep this one on my hook. And we're just doing single stitches all the way around for basically 13-ish rows, 13 or 12. I did 12 on the first one, and then I already have this one ready so I can finish filming this today. Because it's going to take me a while to make this one 13 rows long, and I didn't want to stay on camera to do it all. Not important, but I already made a bit so that way I can finish up the tutorial with this guy. But this one's 13 rows long, and he's just a little bit, wider, I guess you can see that. So you're going to want to do probably, I'd about say like 11, 12, or 13 rows. It doesn't have to be exact. It's really easy to lose count. So what I would say is, as long as when you put your wreath together like this, you like how big it is, that's pretty much when you want to stop doing rows. So yeah. Anyways, I'm going to do a couple rows on camera with you, but we're basically doing single stitches all the way around and adding fluff or the bands with beads. So yeah. And we do this for about 13 rows, but basically until it's in a good circle size we like, is the way I like to think about it. But yeah, so I have my next band on my hook already. So we're going to go through, pull a band through that, back one over the front one, like that. I realized I wasn't really explaining there. Oopsie. So for the next one, I'm just going to do a doubled band, but like I said, there is literally no order I do this in. I just do it. And like I said, when you pull to make the stitch through, you only pull it through the loop. Then you put both ends back on your hook, back one over the front one, fluff band, and then loop from last time. And we're at the C-clip, I think. Are we at the C-clip? No, we're not. It's a little hard to see, so just be careful you don't miss any bands. I'm going to do another one with the bead on it, so I'm going to put that on my hook. And we'll pull the band through just the loop. One over the front one, slide that one over, loop from last time. I'm going to add another bead band. There's literally no order, I'm just putting them wherever I feel. It's hard to go wrong with this one. And then we'll move our C-clip up. Like that. So we're just going to keep doing rows like this until, like I said, it's as long as we like. It should look like this when you just put it in a circle to see how big it is. But yeah, you can go off camera and do that. I'm going to stay, like I said, and do a couple more rows on camera with you. Okay, I paused to put more bands on my finger, but basically we're just going to keep repeating this, doing rows around with the fluff or the beads. And yeah, this is pretty much it. This is why I said it's a pretty simple design. We just do a bunch of rows around this thing, and at the end of each row we should still have 4 stitches. I don't know what color I should put here. But yeah, we're just doing single stitches all the way around for as many rows until it's basically as long as you like, but I did 13 rows, so do with that information what you will. But yeah, so you can totally, yeah, you probably already got it. But I thought I could give you guys a bit of an update while I just do a bunch of rows because, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about things. And I know this tutorial is going to be really short anyways. And I had been complaining in a lot of tutorials about how my sinuses were killing me. I'm not going to explain what I'm doing, by the way, while I'm talking about this. I'm just going to do a bunch of rows because it's self-explanatory. It's pretty simple what we're doing. I don't need to explain too much. But yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know about that because I didn't want to worry you guys. I wasn't dying. I was just, well, I was dying of sinus pain, but that's not the point. But yeah, I went to the doctor today because it was getting unbearable. Yesterday I had like the past 2 days actually. It was really, really bad and I couldn't do anything and I was getting frustrated because I couldn't do everything I wanted to do. And I really wanted the 12 days of tutorials to obviously be 12 consecutive days of tutorials. So if you've been following with that, you probably know what's been going on because I have been complaining in a lot of tutorials. I'm sorry about that. It's just been so frustrating for me with trying to film tutorials, and then I kept ended up being like dizzy or I just didn't feel well. But yeah, I finally went to the doctor today and um basically I have a sinus infection and I always get these. Um he gave me medicine though, so hopefully I should feel better soon. I feel a little better today, just by chance. So I'm filming today. I'm filming 2 tutorials. So that's fun, but yeah. I probably should have gone to the doctor sooner because I have actually been having like problems with my sinuses for like um probably a little over a month. Um so when like because obviously they ask you, "Oh my god," like not like, "Oh my god," but like they ask you, "Why are you here?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I've been having sinus pain for a month." And the look he gave me when he's like, "For a month." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's been a month." And and he just gives me this look and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what you want." I think he thought I probably should have come in sooner, but I was like, "Nah, nah." I was just planning to tough it out and hope that it went away through the power of like positive thinking. Because then he's like, "Have you been taking anything for it?" I'm like, "Dude, what am I supposed to take? Like, I don't know these things." Yeah, it was an interesting doctor visit though because I hate going to the doctors if you don't know me. That's probably why I waited so long. I was like, through the power of positive thinking, this is gonna just miraculously go away, because sometimes it does. But then it obviously didn't, and I had to go to the doctor. But um, yeah, I hate going to the doctor, so there was that, and it was interesting. I honestly kind of don't like my doctor because, I mean, my parents go to him, but he gave me so many judgmental looks today, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you want from me. I know I'm dumb. Like, I'm asking these questions because I generally don't know. Like, genuinely don't know, not generally. Wrong words. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm fine. Everything is fine now, and hopefully I will start feeling better soon. But yeah. Yep, so that was fun. There was something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. I mean, yeah. I think he was just like looking at me like, "Don't you know what helps? Like, you've had allergies your whole life and you still don't know how to like manage them." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I don't." It was just so bad. Yeah. Anyways, I think I might go off camera now to finish these rows. I just wanted to tell you guys what's up and that I'm not dying. Not like I was ever dying. I just was having headaches, but you know. Okay, so yes, it's a different color. Like I said before, I actually don't know if I said this, but I made another piece so that way this tutorial could go quicker and I wouldn't have to sit here forever to make another piece. I will be finishing this wreath though, but um, yeah, so once it's about as long as you want, you can just touch the ends together, and then if it's about the shape and about the bigness you want, that's usually when I'll stop. I lost track of rows the first time, and I made sure to keep track of them the second time so I could tell you how many rows I did, so anywhere between 12 and 13. You'd probably even do 11 if you want to be a little bit smaller. But yeah, and then basically what we're gonna do, so we just finished doing our last row that we were like happy with. All we're gonna do is we basically just pick up, like we're gonna decrease, so inside of one loop, back part of the next loop, and then you'll just pull a band through everything on your hook and then tie it shut like that. And then all we're gonna do now is we're just gonna tie these two ends together. Yeah. So all we're gonna do is we just start tying. You can tuck this end in. You can just pull it into the wreath. I'm doing this off camera because it's really hard to see on camera, but basically you'll just come up through your wreath and then you'll just pull it inside. Like that. And then you'll just tie these two ends together like I said, so I'll just go through part of this piece and then part of this other piece. Doesn't matter where, you're just going to want to go through part of each. And you'll just tie it together a couple times at the top. And you kind of have to tie around the whole top bit. So I usually do about 3 or 4 ties just to make sure it's together. So I'll just tie it together. Oh my gosh, it's not cooperating. So I'll just tie it together a bunch of times on the top. And then after you've tied it and you're happy with it, you're just going to hide all the tails. You honestly don't have to hide them too much. You can just pull them in a tiny bit and then let them stick out because it just basically looks like extra fluff. So, like, I can just pull it to there and then just let it go. Because it'll just look like fluff bands. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We should have our wreath now. Like I said, this is a super simple design. Super simple and super easy. Sometimes the top part does look a little weird and naked, and that's kind of what the bow is for. It kind of helps hide all that. Mine doesn't look too bad. Like, you can see where I connected them, though. So usually the bow just helps hide that. You don't have to put a bow. But then you have to, like, tie it really neatly, and I never do, so... yeah. So there's our wreath. And you can totally just rotate it to wherever you like, where all the bits are sticking out. Like all the beads. But I'm going to show you how to make a bow so we can cover up this top area. It doesn't look too bad. I've definitely tied it not as good as I did the first time. Because like this time I tied it up here, but you can barely see it. But for some reason on this guy you can see it a little bit more. I probably just didn't tie it as well. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to make a bow. Where did I set my bands? I brought bands to do a bow. They're right here. So you just want to get some bands. I usually do about 5 bands for this part, and then you want 2 to tie around, so just get 5 bands. Okay. So you get 5 bands, and you can stretch them across 2 pegs, or just use your fingers. I usually just do this on my fingers. So you'll just stretch it across your 2 fingers. And then I'll get my hook, and I'll get the 2 bands. I would stop dropping them. And I'll just tie them around these 2. See, like that's wrapped around. Then you just tie a slip knot. Then you can take it off your fingers. My fingers do slightly suffocate when I do this, but it's okay. And you'll just pull it really tight. And then you'll have a bow for your wreath. And I always stick the bow where we connected them just because it kind of helps hide. Sometimes if you don't tie it together very well. I don't know how I tied it so well the first time, but I think it's just because I was tying on camera that this time didn't turn out as well as last time. But you can just tie your bow in. Like that. And you'll just hide the tail into the wreath. And that's pretty much it. So you can leave it here if you don't want to do a face. You probably guessed I'm going to do a face right here. I like how it looks with a face. But you don't have to do a face. That could be it. This could be it. It looks cute like this. I just like sticking faces on everything. So I'm going to go get some stuff for a face and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the stuff for the face. I put the eyes on the bands already because I already showed you how to do that at the start, and we've put so many beads on bands. You probably got this. But basically, I like to put my face right down here, so I'm just going to come in wherever I want the face. I'm going to put it right here. And I'm just going to tie these in. I really hate that there's a big blue bead right there, but it's fine. And I'll just tie both the eyes in before I tuck in the tail just to make sure I like what spot the face is in. We'll also should we go right here? Should we go a little far? No, we'll go right here. It's really hard to see where the stuff is because of all the fluff bands, but it's not too bad. And then I'll just tuck in the tails. And we'll have our eyes on. And it's super easy to tuck in the tails on this guy because you can just leave him hanging out a little bit and it just looks like extra fluff, which is what I like to do. So, yeah. And I'm tucking the other eye off camera because it's easier for me. Okay. Like that. And then if you want to do cheeks, you just will come on right under wherever the eye is. And you'll tie a band. Like you're making a stitch, but you'll pull it tight, but not super tight. Just tight enough so it'll stay. Then you can just hide the tail. And I'll have a cheek. And do it again on the other side. I think I might have tied his face too low. Oopsies. Like that. And then he'll be a wreath with a face. If you want to do a mouth, I hot glue on the mouth, so I'll just cut a black band and I'll put a dot of hot glue and then I'll just set the black band on, and that's how I do the mouths. But I don't really do that on camera because I don't want to burn myself. But I think that is pretty much it for this tutorial. So I hope your wreath turned out okay, whether you put a face on it or not. I like putting faces on everything, I feel like. Most people have probably noticed that by now. Subscribe if you want to see some more tutorials that are coming from me. I don't know if I have too many sneak peeks for you. I know I'm working on this guy. You can see him slightly. He's having some technical square issues, but he'll be fixed soon. I'm hoping to have him out before Christmas. He's one of the designs I'm working on for the 12 Days of Tutorials. So yeah, subscribe for some more videos from me. I hope you like this video. And I think that's pretty much it. My Instagram and everything will be in the description if you want to check me out on anywhere else, because I've been posting some Christmas designs on there, of course, always before they get a tutorial, so you can check that out if you want. But I think that is it for this one, so I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.